Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of yet another Star Trek podcast. For this episode, I am your host. My name is Majid. And my lovely co-host for the evening, one of them, 3 children in a trench coat, Drew. How are you, buddy?
I am an adult doing business.
That's good. And my other co-host, the most handsome. I'm not reading this. Why would you give me to read this, Brad? Just look.
Come on, you just say it. The most handsome, stunning individual you've ever met.
You asked me to read this intro for you. Listen, Brad is the other co-host. I love him like a brother, but I am not reading this intro that he handed me to read.
Did Brad write my intro too?
No. He asked me. He says, "Hey, Majid, I know you're hosting. I'm really been down lately. I need you to read this for me to make me feel good.
I need a good pick me.
What's it say?
I'm not gonna say it.
Say it.
No, he's lying. He's lying. I didn't write him any introduction for me this week. He's making it up all.
Say it.
Oh, I'm not saying it. I'm not saying it. Hey guys, hi. It's been a while. In podcast time, the reader, the listener, would have only seen what, a week between us.
Yeah, I think it's only been a week since we last talked with the listeners.
Right, but in real world time, it's been 2.5 weeks since we've last recorded with each other.
Yeah, a lot has happened in the past 2.5 weeks.
A lot has happened.
Majid has taken a vacation. Brad bought a house.
Maybe.
Well,
maybe it's not official yet.
Wait, not official on the vacation or?
Yes.
All right. Well, all right.
I haven't done anything. I've been home by myself. Like
that's not true. You
set up your gym.
You did business stuff as an adult. You paid a bill.
I did.
Right? You put gas in your car.
Yeah.
It's the little things.
I guess
I'm not making you feel better.
No, because gas is expensive, man.
Gas is so horrible.
And I have to fill my tank like twice a week.
Yeah, you see, Brad. Oh, Brad is lucky. He just power walks everywhere.
Yeah, pretty much. I remember I used to have to fill it up twice a week when I was commuting to Connecticut. That was not fun for my wallet. I think it was spending about $100 a week. It felt like.
Yeah, I mean, there's been a couple times where I've filled up, and granted, like I have a Subaru, so it's pretty good on gas.
Are you plugging Subaru right now? Are you trying to get advertising dollars?
If they will sponsor this show, yeah, 100%.
This episode brought to you by hopefully Subaru. Do more. I don't know what their motto is. It do more. Vroom vroom vroom.
Yeah, vroom, vroom.
Let's go with the vroom vroom vroom. I like that the best.
This episode brought to you.
That I think is perfect.
This episode
is
brought to you by Subaru. Vroom vroom vroom.
Right. Subaru, loved by all podcast hosts that do Star Trek related.
No, here, I got it. Subaru,
okay.
The #1 car for Star Trek podcast hosts in Connecticut.
No.
Oh.
No.
That don't have taste.
All right, Brad, your turn. Brad, your turn. You drive. I don't know. You wear like high-rise socks. I don't know if you can trust you.
I have a Toyota Corolla.
By choice?
From 2010.
By choice?
Heck yeah, by choice. Toyota is freaking awesome, man. Easy to repair.
Whatever, man.
Those cars last forever too. How many miles you got? Like 1 billion?
I think at this point almost 150,000.
Oh, I'm gonna
Brad.
I'll have put up 150,000 on my car by next week.
Brad loves his Toyota so much that's why he walks everywhere. Just keep that in mind, everybody.
No, I've given up. I let my wife drive it, so therefore it's as good as doomed at some point.
Aw.
Is she still in the room with you?
That. You can't say that. I hope she hits you with something.
With a Toyota?
Yeah, I know, right? I mean, as it stands right now, she hits me anyways, so it's okay.
This
It'd just be nothing new.
This episode brought to you by vehicular manslaughter.
Yeah, right.
Jesus. Hey guys, so we watched an episode of Star Trek. I'm not sure if you guys did, but I did. I watched.
Oh, I totally did.
Yeah, I watched it.
Drew is gonna do this entire episode based on memory alone.
I watched it. I did watch it. But it's been 24 hours, so who knows what's gonna stick in my memory.
While he was
don't.
half asleep.
Drew's fueled by determination and coffee.
Yeah, that's for sure. Actually, I'm drinking this lovely decaf tea right now.
There you go, wind down. But this week, guys, we watched the Corbomite Maneuver. All right, so in this episode, we joined Spock in command of the bridge as the crew of the Enterprise encounter a space Rubik's Cube in space, blocking their path.
A space Rubik's Cube in space.
Yeah.
You got to have the double space.
I like it.
Yeah. I mean, we need to be able to establish to the listener that this is a Rubik's Cube in space, therefore a space Rubik's Cube.
Wouldn't it have been hilarious if the Rubik's Cube was unsolved?
Oh, that would have been perfect.
It wasn't. Wait, it was solved?
Well, yeah, Rubik's Cubes are solid colors on each side, but different colors. But if it was a 9x9 square that was all like mixed up, then it would have been a true Rubik's Cube.
It would have been better.
It would have been better.
Guess nerds.
That checks, yes.
Right.
Yeah, nothing new there.
All right. Well, chaos ensues as cooler heads do not prevail. After evasive space maneuvering, the crew realizes that the space Rubik's Cube is blocking their path.
Say that 3 times fast.
After evasive space maneuvering, the crew realizes that the space Rubik's Cube is blocking their path.
Space Rubik's Cube.
What did I say?
Say 3 times fast.
Space Rubik's Cube. Leave me alone. Words are hard. We then cut to Kirk and McCoy in the sickbay training legs. Kirk does not skip leg day, guys. Kirk starts this episode with his shirt off, which, Brad appreciated because it showed dedication by William Shatner that he, took his diet seriously.
It gives us true understanding of his form.
Abs. He gave us abs.
He's just willing to get into the character fully, that's all.
I wonder if he got extra money for taking his shirt off every episode.
So I'm kind of curious as to your thoughts on the Space Stairmaster.
I think it's a beneficial thing that Majee would absolutely love to have in his home gym.
Does it still qualify as a Stairmaster if it's upside down?
I thought his form was garbage.
Yeah.
I thought the form was garbage. The weight was way too light. And there's no way he was just sweating that quickly. And by the way, Bones totally fat shamed him. Bones fat shamed Kirk.
He did.
Yeah. Which I'm not sure how I feel about that. Bones is not a great doctor.
If he's fat shaming Kirk, boy, I'm sure glad he's not my doctor.
Well, gee. Right? How they let Scotty put on so much weight? Bones failed.
Yeah.
Oh, Drew, you sounded sad. I'm sorry.
I'm working on it.
Eventually, the Enterprise is able to break free from the space Rubik's Cube, but end up destroying it in the process. Kirk decides to head to where it came from, because, that's great. Why wouldn't we go towards the location from which danger arose?
You got to find out what's trying to kill you, man.
You know why certain people don't survive horror movies, Brad?
Because they go in the house?
They don't investigate where the scary sound came from. They get out of that damn house.
But that's what you're supposed to do.
Get out of the damn house? Yeah.
No, you need to go in the house. You need to find out what's going on, why it's happening.
Nope.
This is like that Geico commercial where they're hiding behind the chainsaws.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. There's 2 signs, one to safety and one towards danger.
Yeah.
He chooses danger every time.
Wouldn't that be great if they literally just had signs that said the danger is this way in those movies?
Well, Scary Movie did that.
Oh, did it? Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if I remember correctly, I did that too. Yeah.
I must have skipped that one.
You shouldn't. It was a really good movie.
All right.
He explains, sorry, a massive disco ball, a massive space disco ball comes out of nowhere. Wait, let me rephrase this. A massive disco ball shaped spaceship. I'm not saying that 3 times fast, by the way. It comes at the Enterprise, and they are hailed by Bollocks.
Balak.
Balak?
Bollocks?
Balak.
Balak?
Balak.
Balak?
Balak.
Balak?
I'm pretty sure it's not
Balak.
bollocks. I think that's a
Balak? Maybe it's Balak.
You know what? Screw this. They are hailed by handsome Squidward.
That's a pretty accurate statement there.
He explains that because they blew up the space Rubik's Cube, they must be hostile beings and should be destroyed, giving them 10 minutes to live. With almost no time left, Kirk starts to bluff handsome Squidward, explaining that the crew has this magical thing called Corbomite, and if he attempts to destroy them, it will redirect the energy to his ship and destroy him. Handsome Squidward falls for Kirk's bluff as the Enterprise tracker beamed to a planet so the crew can be let out and the ship eventually destroyed. What a ballsy move. What a really ballsy move. I have to appreciate Kirk's poker face.
I think it was a little bit out there.
Was that a pun? Are you doing a pun?
I don't really know where I was going with that. I think you should just ignore what I said and continue.
Nope, keep that. Don't you dare cut that.
Oh, no, he's keeping it. I'm just saying you should just keep going because yeah, I don't really know. I think me being in a different room tonight recording is throwing my groove off.
Yeah, especially when I can't see you anymore.
I know.
So the crew figure out a way to disrupt the ship that has a tracker beam on them, eventually resulting in them sending out the distress signal. Kirk, McCoy, and Scaredy Pants Lieutenant Bailey beam over to the ship. They find out that handsome Squidward is actually a puppet, and a person in control is a 7-year-old child who is pretty scary, right? But that's fine because he's Clint Howard. Guys, that's Clint Howard. I learned that 5 minutes before recording this episode. I learned that was Clint Howard.
By reading the script I wrote.
The same script that asked me to basically beef up Brad and make his his ego feel better. Yeah, that
only part of those words are true.
So, the real handsome Squidward, aka Clint Howard, explains this was all a test that they passed when they came over to help him. Additionally, he is a crew of 1 and is very lonely. Kirk volunteers Scaredy Pants Bailey to stay behind and keep his creepy man-child company. This guy's such a creepy man-child. Listen, I can't get over how Clint Howard as a child still looks like Clint Howard as an adult.
Yeah, not much.
He's basically Baby Huey,
yeah.
And I love it.
Yeah.
So we never hear from either of them again, ever again. They never mention man-child or Bailey ever again. End of the episode. They just kind of walk off into the ship, and that's it. To sum up this episode, a space Rubik's Cube can stop the Enterprise, and don't play poker against Kirk, you will lose. And Clint Howard is just creepy, no matter what age. It's just Clint Howard, you know?
This dude was, let's see here. How old was he?
7, I think.
Yeah, so
he was 7.
He was born in 53. No, 59. I'm sorry. Yeah. So yeah, 7 years old. He has, I don't know if you're aware, but Clint Howard has been in Star Trek as recently as Discovery.
Playing the same character, I hope not.
No, different character, but but he's had parts throughout the shows over the years, which is pretty crazy.
I think he chooses to go with his strengths.
No,
go with the characters.
No, I don't think that's the case at all. I think that he's typecasted.
Not really, because like at least in Star Trek, he's played a pretty diverse set of roles. You know, he
As him as without makeup or with makeup?
both.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, there's a Deep Space Nine episode that he was in, where he did not have any makeup on, and it was a kind of like a time travel kind of episode, and he played a character that was mentally ill, and did a great job with it. And then later on, he did a Ferengi in an episode of Enterprise, and then in Discovery, he was playing the part of quote unquote creepy Orion. So
hey, let's let's go back a second to the time travel thing.
Mhm.
Let me guess. They go back 3 days in the past and then never talk about it again.
No, this is much more significant.
I cannot get over this. I'm so upset.
They do a lot of time travel in Star Trek.
Yeah, but at least they talk about it, right? They go back 3 days and no one else talks about this.
They don't really. It doesn't really come up.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like, 4 seasons down the line, they're like, oh, do you remember that time we time traveled, to the late 21st century?
If anything, it's one of those situations where they may have done something and then later on the road, they're like, oh yeah, because we did this, that happened.
Yeah, it'll be like a passing line of dialogue or visual on a screen, but it's not something that they like really dove into.
No.
Mm-hmm.
There's no real like cause and effect type of.
Right. And unfortunately, for the most part, there aren't a ton of like lasting repercussions in the original series and in Next Generation.
I think the one series that really had the most impact was probably Star Trek Voyager. With the Doctor's mobile emitter.
Yeah, I could agree with that.
Because it changed the entire course of the series once that time travel situation occurred.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
I love looking at the video for you, Majid, and seeing the glazed look of, I have no idea what these guys are talking about.
It's also the glazed look of, I can't believe I agreed to do this damn show.
I mean, they're equally like the same, so it could be either or.
I guess it's up to interpretation then.
I'm thinking about tomorrow's workout while you guys are doing. I'm going to my happy place.
Is it upside down leg day?
It's just, while my doctor fat shames me and gives me a salad.
Then finishing off with a protein shake.
A ruck shake.
Ruck shake,
God.
yeah.
So one thing I didn't really touch upon during the synopsis, because I wanted to talk about it in earnest here, was Bailey, Lieutenant Bailey.
Mhm.
And dude freaked out. Dude lost it.
He loses it multiple times during this episode.
Yeah. Listen, he got kicked off the bridge, and he's lucky. And I was expecting it because I was waiting for something to happen, waiting for something significant to happen. I thought Kirk was gonna be like, "Hey, get into a red shirt, go into the torpedo tube, and wait there for me."
Yeah.
I mean, the whole like crewmen going crazy seems to be a recurring theme early on in this show.
I think they really don't know how to take certain story arcs and progress them without somebody freaking out. But I think that's also because the series is so new for the time, and that people aren't necessarily used to seeing Star Trek, like science fiction shows in this kind of context, maybe.
Yeah.
And I kind of think about some TV shows I've watched where I'm just like, I have no idea why they would be acting that way, because that is not normal or make any sense to me. And I kind of feel like that's a reflection on the time period of that science fiction like that really didn't make sense. And so people are like, how are you not freaking out at these concepts? And that's the representation of the audience, as opposed to like just a necessarily crewman freaking out.
Yeah, totally.
I know the audience understands what you're saying,
Mm-hmm.
but I know Majid understands what you're saying.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I'm right there. Brad and I, we are on the same wavelength. We are locked in.
But just in case he doesn't, can you just rephrase this for me?
Explain it to Drew, the audience, like there were three children in the trench coats.
If I were talking to three children, I would explain that the actions of Scaredy Pants Bailey, I think that he was reflecting upon how people of that era would see that type of situation.
I went to a stock market today. I did a business.
Oh, I really wish I had video so you could see me losing my crap right now.
Listen, Bones failed his entire crew. He should have given them all drugs to cope. Except he just gives Kirk a drink. God, Bones is an alcoholic, guys. I don't care what you say. This is the second time in this season that Bones has given Kirk alcohol.
Majid, it just goes back to what, like I told you from day one. Your doctor is also your bartender.
If you find that doctor on Craigslist, sure.
Clearly in the future, that's how it is. Your doctor's your bartender.
Is your doctor also a drug dealer? Well, I guess technically.
Technically, yeah,
that happens in 21st century.
That happens now.
So I mean, is it really much far of a stretch of the doctor being your bartender? I think there's a logical conclusion there. You can easily jump between the two.
I mean, whether you're taking opioids or taking a shot of tequila.
Hey, you know what? They get you to the same place. You're good.
I guess.
It's the same thing in Drew's book.
Yeah.
Shot of cortisone, shot of steroids.
Yeah, so I got to look like the Rock too.
Leave him out of this.
But yeah, I mean, like, you know, this is so I kind of keep bringing up the production cycle of these episodes because I'm endlessly fascinated about it. You know, this episode was the third one produced, but the special effects took so long to do that it didn't air until 10th. And looking at I guess not only the script but the uniforms, there's still a lot of stuff that was obviously in flux. So, you know, 10 episodes in, I think it's easy to see, you know, where or I'm kind of stumbling over my words here. 10 episodes in, they're kind of rehashing these themes, you know, with people kind of being lost in space, or not lost in space, but just stuck out there, kind of going crazy, losing their cool, whatever the case is, you know what I mean? And I wonder that if this had aired in the production order, if we would have gotten a little bit less of that, you know?
Also, Uhura's makeup. I'm not sure if you noticed. They didn't put much makeup on her this episode.
I didn't notice that, no, but...
I didn't notice.
It's not weird that I did notice, by the way. It's just something I noticed.
No,
she's a very attractive individual.
She's beautiful. She doesn't need it.
Yeah. So I think the one thing to keep in mind is that this series aired well before we even landed on the moon.
That's a good point.
We were just at that peak of sending people into space. So it's something to keep in mind in that sense, is that it's such a new or maybe even a foreign idea to the general population, that like having people in regular spaceships traveling between the stars is just so profoundly out there. I kind of think the only thing that comes to mind recently that may be equivalent is like parallel universes. I know the concept's been there for a while, but I think more and more we talk about those things, and then or even like our own universe, it's as a simulation in a computer program. And so it's a newer idea, a newer concept. While when you're trying to construct stories, it's gonna show up a little bit different, whereas we have the luxury of what now 60 years almost. Next year is gonna be the 60th year since it aired, and so we've gotten 60 years of sci-fi and fiction, and we grew up with it on a regular basis. Yeah, I think we have a little bit of a perspective that's so accustomed to science fiction. It's kind of like, I don't understand why they're reacting that way, but to them it's such a new concept.
It will be, yeah, you're a little ahead of it, but it will be like 56 years. So
Close enough.
yeah, I just had to. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Hey, what was that voice you just did? What was that? What was that impression you just did? Close enough. What was that? Close enough.
Yeah, close enough.
Was that a lunch lady? Close enough.
I don't know. I just pulled something random.
Was that the woman from Monsters Inc? I'm watching Wachowski.
Yeah, I'll go with that. If that seems funnier, I'll go with that.
I hate you.
I love you, boo.
All right.
I have
Sorry,
no idea.
Drew.
I have no idea what's going on.
I listen. I was taken out of the moment by the close enough.
Understood.
Guys, I struggled in this episode. I've made it no secret that I struggled with this episode.
So, what were you having trouble with?
The entire thing. Like, it was supposed to be this. I think we talked about my whole love of the ticking clock element. This ticking clock was garbage. This ticking clock was so garbage. Evasive maneuvers. Right, so Spock couldn't hack it as a captain. Let's just put it out there. Spock couldn't hack it. So they try these evasive maneuvers, these evasive space maneuvers around the space Rubik's Cube. And they couldn't get around fast enough.
Yeah,
I don't get that. So top speed of this ship, they couldn't just like punch warp factor 8 and just get around this thing.
Apparently not.
They just blissfully try to like turn and, oh no, look, the space Rubik's Cube is still there.
Well, wasn't it kind of like it just basically whichever direction the ship was going in, it was blocking its path?
Yeah, it did the whole like when you have like a little brother or little sister that you want to get away from, like, I'm not touching you. It was one of those. It was weird to me. And Clint Howard, by the way, I love Clint Howard.
Yeah.
But this creepy little child was manning this ship by himself.
Yeah, well, sure.
All right, so he was manning this ship by himself. He didn't show any signs of enhanced intelligence.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't Professor Charlie X. He didn't have like the mind powers. He just was on the ship by himself. This highly advanced ship with a meat puppet.
Well, he had the Trinia too, or whatever that beverage was. What was it called?
Oh God, I don't remember.
The Tranya.
Shirley, it was called the Shirley Temple. Because
Tranya.
Kids can't have alcohol.
Well, I mean, it might be an alcohol-free drink. You don't know. Maybe he's really like 1 billion years old. We don't know. They never got to that point.
Right, and that would have been interesting if they did. Like, if they restructured the episode to the first act being this ticking clock, and then the second act of the episode, this, Kirk outsmarting handsome Squidward and Clint Howard. And then the third episode.
I think I understand where you're trying to go with this, Majid, because like it's so it has like this pressure moment in the beginning, but then it becomes very anticlimactic.
Right. It was garbage. It was a letdown. It was a letdown. It was like going to open up your Christmas presents and then realizing you got socks that don't even match.
So like a giant wrapped box that looks like a brand new PS5, and you open it up and it's socks.
It's socks, and then the socks don't match or fit.
I do think that the ending did kind of cut the wind out of the sails of the rest of the episode, but I liked the episode enough where I feel like it kind of hit on the important parts. We have this unknown hostile creature that's preventing the ship from escaping, moving, going forward. You have this cat and mouse game. It kind of taps into the naval warfare style of Star Trek. And then ultimately it comes down to a game of poker where, Kirk outbluffs this alien, right? These are all things that we get to see time and time again throughout the show, and I think this was a good case of it. The ending did fall a little flat, but I don't think it was enough to damage the rest of the episode.
So let's say, for example, that this child, I'm gonna kind of call him Clint Howard.
Sure.
Kind of call him CH. All right. Let's say that CH.
You guys are good friends, right?
Yeah, we go way back.
All right.
So let's say that CH was a highly intelligent being. Why would he fall for this fake mineral if he's this highly intelligent being that just wants to, quote unquote, test the Enterprise? This intelligent being that is able to run an entire ship and have handsome Squidward as a man puppet.
I don't really think it was him falling for it. I think he knew it wasn't real all along. And that the whole thing is just to see how the crew reacts. To see their intention.
So if it was up to Bailey, they would have all failed.
Pretty much.
The same guy that they're gonna make stay with CH.
Yeah. I think that was the whole perspective towards it. You are correct in the sense that, like, how could they just easily fall for that? And I think I actually have a different opinion than you, Majid. I actually really enjoyed the episode. However, it definitely has its flaws. And to me, one of the biggest ones was that what was the indicator for Kirk that he knew the bluff would actually work? Like there was seemingly no clue as to why, like, he should even think that something like that would even work.
Right. It was plot armor. It was plot convenience.
Yeah, like the act of God.
Right.
Because there's no substance to actually persuade him to say, oh yeah, if I try to bluff, I mean, I guess you could argue it's like an act of desperation, but like, to me, an act of desperation would probably be to try to defend themselves.
Mm-hmm. So on the other side of that, if this episode were made today and you want to set up that Corbomite gambit, you're not going to use this made up mineral that you pull out of your butt. There's going to be some kind of clue or hint or wink to the audience where he would have gotten this hint from. So set up somewhere in Act 1 that he sees a memo or something that uses the word Corbomite, or someone just makes up a word. And it's like, oh, okay, cool, that's weird. And you move on. And then all of a sudden, Kirk has this epiphany, this realization that, oh, I've never heard of this. They probably never heard of this either. So I'm going to go ahead and use this word. And hopefully it works.
Like, I kind of feel like it would be expanded upon even further than that. Maybe like they find a star system where like a certain item is like reactive within it. So they try to get rid of that mineral, so to speak. And so, like, to me, that would probably be like a good segue. But it's just, yeah, I get where you're. It's funny, Majid. Like, I really enjoyed the episode, but like everything you're saying makes 100% sense to me.
Right. And if that's the case, let's say that this was a trial. This was a court of law. I want to be able to ruin the episode for you. I want to be able to
crush my hopes and dreams.
No, there's time for that. There's time for me to crush your hopes and dreams as we go on with this thing called life.
Well,
that's true.
I just lost where I was going to go.
Did I crush your hopes and dreams too?
Yes. All right. let me ask you this, right? Has there ever been a time where your daughter has asked you a question, or anybody that you know, and you literally just pulled something out of your rear end and just made something completely up that doesn't exist?
that's the thing about lies. It's not always, like 90% of the time, it's something that you have been exposed to in one way, shape, or form.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's something you see, something you hear, something you smell. That's the same concept for dreams. When you dream of someone that you've never seen, and you think you've never seen, chances are you've seen this person because your subconscious does not make things up like that.
Or at least parts of the person to help configure the actual face kind of thing.
Maybe, but you've seen this person before and your subconscious remembers it. You just don't. So that's the same thing when it comes to lying. You're not pulling it out of thin air. You're pulling it from some corner of your subconscious, some corner of your mind.
Some sort of reference point.
Mm-hmm. So I have pulled stuff out of my butt for lying purposes to my daughter. I don't often lie to my daughter. That's a lie. I lie to I lie to her all the time. It's for her own protection.
Yeah.
Hey, where do babies come from? Ask your mother. Oh, she said to ask you. Oh, hey, you want ice cream? You know, when those tactics don't work, I'll just say
it's deflection, man.
Well, no. When those tactics don't work, I'll just say Amazon.
I mean, you know, she is growing up in a world where they do bring you everything.
Yeah. And you know, that's just me putting a pin in it. But no, when I lie to my daughter, not only is it for her own good, let's establish that. It's something that I can pull from, that I can speak with the utmost confidence. And I can sell the lie. Kirk was able to sell this lie based on nothing, at least nothing that the audience is able to connect with. And that part of it's garbage to me. Another part of the garbage is... Oh, go ahead, buddy. Go.
I was going to say, though, like, I feel like there are other things that you've let this show get away with a 1966 mentality. And this one is like where you're taking your stand is.
Yeah. This is, I'm not saying I'm going to die on this hill, but I'm probably going to die in this hill. There's a couple concepts of this ticking clock. I love ticking clock episodes. I'm a sucker for them. I'm a sucker for heists. I'm a sucker for
I'm gonna say
espionage.
this. I'm gonna say this. Opinions are like assholes. Everybody have them.
Some people have two. Don't cut that. Don't cut that. No, I don't know why. I don't know why you wanted to say that, Brad.
No, it's because you know you're entitled to your opinion.
I get it, and I'm trying to ruin the episode for you.
And I think the thing that I need to understand is that it's okay for you to be wrong.
And I think it's okay. I think it's healthy for us to have these discussion and debates because it makes for good podcasting. I do agree though, Majid. Like it's everything you described to me makes 100% perfect sense. However, I think the weighted value of what you're saying as to how much that detracted from the episode to me seems a little bit skewed to the high end. I wouldn't say that one, you know, reasoning or rationale as to what they went through detracted so much for the overall experience of the episode that it detracts to a point where it was like garbage. And
all right.
I do feel that you are a much bigger fan of those ticking clock episodes, which is why those situations probably resonate with you much more than it does for me. To me, those are just complete BS. Because it's all fake. There's manufactured drama, but that's just how I am in those situations. So but I understand where you're coming though. It makes a lot of sense. It makes sense.
So I was hoping you said that. And the Kirk bluff is not the only problem I have. Bailey losing it and coming back to the ship in 20 minutes? Garbage. Not only that, there's no, did we ever establish, if the episode were made with today's storytelling standards, we would understand why Bailey lost it. He just comes back to the bridge.
It was
Bones
lazy.
Bones gives him the nod. Like, yeah, you know, I'm a doctor by title. This guy is totally okay to come back after he had a nervous breakdown. Let him crash the ship into another ship. Sure.
I would agree with that. That was kind of lazy. You know, it was a no captain would allow their crew member in that situation.
Right.
To
I'm serious. That's why I made the comment about Bailey being lucky that he didn't get, strapped into a photon cannon and fired at the other ship.
I mean, they would probably just confine him to quarters, but I get what you're saying.
They would put a red shirt on and kill him.
You sound really disappointed that capital punishment doesn't include murder.
It's not murder if he dies in the line of duty.
Strapping him to a torpedo is not...
What are you saying?
Technically, it is in the line of duty.
If he's in a red shirt,
we need to make sure you can guide this missile.
Right.
Get on top of it.
Right. If he's in a red shirt and he's doing his job and he just happens to die while doing his job, Kirk can't be responsible for that.
I'm sorry, Drew. This is what you have to put up with.
So how else can I ruin this episode for you? What other parts did you like? Let me go ahead and take this episode down a peg for you guys.
I mean, I think I kind of already gave you the rundown.
Okay. So you in your mind you and Brad have a number in your head as to what you're going to assign this episode. After my ranting, raving, and yelling at the clouds, have I taken this down? Have I taken that number down?
I think so.
Yes.
I think so.
That's it. Point Majid.
Are we talking numbers now? Are we at that point?
Nope. I just want to let the audience know that I in my mind I have a victory.
Okay.
I have a W.
Well,
what about you, Brad?
Yeah. Like you definitely I think you've made valid points that made me think a little more in that sense. I'm pretty sure it's going to be higher than what you would probably expect, but it's definitely gone down a notch based upon our conversation.
I think Majid is still bitter that I gave the last two episodes a 4 and he gave them 6s and 7s.
What was the last episode that we just watched?
Miri and Dagger of the Mind.
I like Dagger of the Mind. I did like Dagger of the Mind. Which one had the Ruck in it? The Ruck was
that was what little girls were made
little
of.
girls are made of.
Yeah, the Ruck alone should have gotten a 10. He should have gotten his own spin.
You gave that one a 3.
Son of a bitch. I'm sorry, Ruck.
You see, this is what happens with the TOS is that you gain so many fond memories of certain parts of the episodes. You only focus on that part of the episode. I have to going to I guess one of my potential rationales with that comment is that this episode has such the iconic background for me because I've always seen like clips of Clint Howard being in this episode, and that I think that was one of the reasons why I probably have it maybe on a higher scale is I have had so many memories of people talking about it or a documentary covers it, and like that's kind of what resonates with me so much, and I that may have inadvertently skewed my mindset because I knew it was coming, and so maybe it gave it much more of a positive twist to me. So
the nostalgia factor is really kicking in. It's interesting because like I'm familiar with Clint Howard's work, particularly in Star Trek, but I never associated this episode with him for one reason or another. So I think I managed to dodge the nostalgia until after I watched the episode and then I realized, oh shit, that was Clint Howard.
I had the same thing.
Because like I saw the character He was only on the screen for a few minutes, and I'm like, is that? No, that can't be. Is that him? And then of course I looked it up, and sure enough,
Yeah.
it was.
I think I remember seeing years ago, well before I think any of this stuff like DS9 or Voyager. I think it was like the Next Generation. There was a documentary that covered him, or it was like child actors, and it covered him. I think Will Wheaton at one point, but it, like, to me that gave me such more nostalgia feeling, I guess, in this, since I knew it was coming.
Right.
Man, listen, every time I see Clint Howard CH in a movie, again, I go back to that Leonardo DiCaprio meme where he's looking at the TV and pointing. I'm like, oh, it's CH. I love that guy.
So I have to admit, I'm not super familiar with his career outside of Star Trek. Like, what has he been in?
Austin Powers. Ah, jinx.
Yeah, I don't like Austin Powers.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You have no taste, sir. He was in all 3 Austin Powers, by the way.
Was he?
He was in Waterboy. Was another one.
Yep.
He was in the Waterboy.
He's been in multiple Adam Sandler movies, I think.
See, I also hate Adam Sandler. So,
wow.
Why? How are we friends?
Because Adam Sandler's not funny.
Drew.
Yeah.
Drew.
No. This is a hill that This is a hill that I will
to your house.
defend.
I will stomp a mud hole in your ass.
You could try.
Oh, Mr. Kettlebell.
He was also in the Apollo 13.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Apollo 13 was great. I enjoyed that.
Yeah, anything that Ron Howard has directed, he will always gonna. Wait, is it big brother or is it baby brother?
Are they related?
Yeah,
they're brothers.
They're the brothers.
Oh shit,
They're brothers.
I did not realize that.
Seriously?
The last name didn't give it away.
I mean, how many people in this world are the last name Howard? It's a very common name.
That's fair. I get that.
How many movie stars?
It happens more than you realize.
Baldwin. Think about it, right? So we have the whole Baldwin family, but there is one Baldwin, the Baldwin that was in Firefly. When I was in,
I know who you're talking about. He's not related to them.
Yeah, he's not related to the Baldwins, but he's a Baldwin.
He looks like him.
That's
fair enough.
Yeah, that's
but anyways, Clint Howard has been in tons of movies, tons of TV shows. Oh, no kidding. He was in The Rocketeer.
Okay, I haven't seen that in
I
a long
love
time.
The Rocketeer.
Oh man, that Drew, it's not like one of those movies that's like you have to go see, but it was. No, I enjoyed it.
I've seen it. I just haven't seen it since I was like 6.
Oh well, yeah.
So
again,
so Clint Howard is so beloved, right? Just like people love Clint Howard, and back in the 90s, I'm not sure if you remember the story, ever heard the story, but back when MTV was doing the movie awards, they would do the Lifetime Achievement Award. Mm-hmm. Now, back then, it was considered a joke,
right?
A joke award,
right?
So they would give the award to like Jason Voorhees. Mm-hmm. They would just give it to just jokes.
Yeah.
And one year in 1998, they gave it to Clint Howard. Clint Howard was not in on the joke, so he goes up, accepts the award, and has a heartfelt, emotional speech.
Oh, wow.
So that forced MTV to no longer consider this award a joke, because no one ever thought that Clint Howard would come up and give out this emotional speech.
I had no idea like that actually happened.
Yeah. It's something that'll always stick with me because, again, Clint Howard just loves movies. He loves making movies, and, some people may say, oh, well, he's not as famous as Ron Howard, but if you see Clint Howard, you'll know Clint Howard.
There's nothing wrong with not being as famous as somebody else and still having a very successful career.
Well, I think to me, one of the some of my most favorite actors are like the C-list actors or B-list. Those really well done character actors.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
What's the guy's name? Paul Giamatti, I think it is.
Giamatti. Don't disrespect that man. Do not.
No.
Don't dare.
Him, Stanley Tucci. I don't consider them A-list. Maybe I would say B-list. actors, but they're phenomenal actors.
Gary Oldman is another example.
Yeah. Like they're not the ones that you put on the top billing for movies to sell the movie. They're the well, I mean, I think maybe nowadays you could probably do that with Stanley Tucci. And
you could do that with Paul Giamatti too.
Yeah,
Well, nowadays.
But I mean,
like,
generally speaking, though, to what I think you're trying to get to, Brad, like these are the guys that you put across from the stars.
Yeah, Sam Rockwell is another one, by the way.
Yeah.
Oh, God,
Sam Rockwell is fantastic. Rockwell, I love Sam.
Steve Buscemi.
Yeah.
Who is a ex firefighter, which I did
Which
not know
is
that.
so mad props to that guy.
Yeah. I would never forget Steve Buscemi as the private investigator on 30 Rock. Hello there, fellow kids.
Oh yeah.
That was great.
I
love that.
Yeah. But no, with Clint Howard though, he's definitely one of those really good character actors. Drew, it kind of comes to mind is that actor who plays like a bunch of random characters like in DS9. He played the
Jeffrey Combs.
Yeah, Jeffrey Combs.
You didn't even have to finish.
I know. He was in like Reanimator and a bunch of stuff. Like, I love that guy. That guy's a phenomenal actor, and it's people like that I feel really help support shows like Star Trek that help push it into the next boundary.
I've never heard of Jeffrey Combs before in my life.
You will become well acquainted with him eventually.
Yeah.
Excellent.
I really hope he shows up in Discovery or Strange New Worlds or something.
Oh, that would be great.
Lastly, I don't want to keep going down this rabbit hole of unknown actors that you should know, but Doug Jones and Andy Serkis. Andy Serkis, when he first started out, he was motion capture guy.
Yeah.
Just the motion capture guy.
Yep.
Smeagol, King Kong, and who else did he do? He did a few of them.
Oh, he ended up turning into Claw. I remember that now.
Yeah, he was Claw, and his first appearance in a movie without makeup was 13 going on 30. And I'm like, Andy Serkis, that name sounds so familiar, and of course it's Smeagol. So big props to Andy Serkis for coming out of that.
What was the guy who did Darth Maul? Was that Ray
Park?
Ray Park, that's what it was. Yeah. Yeah, because there's so many famous actors that start off in roles where they don't even plan to be like an actor, and they just kind of happen to get pushed into it.
There's a lot of actors like that. Yeah. I'm hoping that we can fall into a category like that.
So Majid is now for hire as an actor. So if you folks want to hire him, please feel free to shoot us an email, and he will show up at your kid's birthday party.
There's little I am not willing to do. Nothing is off the table.
So he will dress up as Spider-Man and Captain America.
In the infamous words of Palmetto, I will not hit kids unless that kid's a jerk. And then I'll hit kids.
But just to kind of kind of close the gap on the conversation here. I'm not a big movie guy. So when you guys start talking about all these movies that I should have seen or didn't, a lot of the times I haven't. This is just keep that in mind.
So, I'm still kind of stuck on the fact that you don't like Adam Sandler.
I really don't.
But Adam Sandler's not just a comedian though.
I that's what I've been exposed to. And I don't like a lot of the comedians from that era. I don't like Jim Carrey.
Oh God.
Oh yeah. Wow.
Dr. Robotnik? You don't like Dr. Robotnik?
No,
Chris Farley?
Chris Farley's all right.
All right. You know what? I think it's gonna be easier if Drew just tells us what comedy actors he likes.
I was watching a lot of British comedy when I was younger. I wasn't watching those movies.
Well,
so the IT crowd, I'm assuming, those guys.
That was later, but
Flying Circus.
Yeah, Monty Python, stuff like that.
Okay.
Yeah, I wasn't I wasn't going to the movies and watching Adam Sandler and Jim Carrey. I was watching Star Trek at home. That was my childhood.
Well, I think Drew, it's You took a definite different path than
Everybody.
Gene and I, yeah, but still though, like,
but yeah, I just like I don't find that style of comedy funny. I just
the slapstick stuff.
yeah.
I can understand it. It's definitely not necessarily for everybody.
I love slapstick. A good pie to the face. Maybe that can be taken out of context. a big old cream pie to the face. That's even worse.
I have one question for you, Drew.
Yeah.
And this is my last one for the last. Do you like Eddie Murphy?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Yeah.
See, common ground, right there.
But you have to fight for it though.
But I mean, like his stuff was before that wave of comedians. You know.
That's true.
Yeah.
You know. So like I liked a lot of the comedians that my parents liked, and I liked a lot of the comedians that came after that SNL group that got really popular.
So
by the way,
Will
guys,
no, he's all right.
You guys got me hooked on the Abbott and Costello skit. Who's on first?
Yeah.
I showed that to my wife and daughter, and we were laughing hysterically.
That's one of my
3 or 4 times.
That's one of those skits that I keep watching on loop, and I'll come back to it like every, I don't know, once a year at the minimum, because it's just so good the way they performed it. And we are getting way off track on this.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you guys, at what point do we take away Bones' medical license?
When he first distributes cocaine, that's when we're done.
I think that's
cocaine.
I think that's a good spot to draw the line.
Oh,
well played there, sir.
True. We're giving you more credit for that than you deserve, but
I'll take it.
Very good. Very good, sir.
Thank you.
Listen, there were 3 egregious things that Bones did this episode. Fat shaming Kirk. There's no way that Kirk deserved to be fat shamed. Did I say A or did I say 1?
I said A.
All right, great. B.
No, just go with 2. It's better that way.
Shut up. B. He tries to clear a patient. He tries to clear someone that just had a mental breakdown, right? Without even going to check on this person. He didn't go check on him. He stayed in the bridge. He didn't check on him. There was nothing he did to check on this person.
Yeah,
that's B, and C. The alcohol. Come on, man. How you gonna give your patient alcohol?
I mean, if it gets them to relax when they're all like tensed up, then I suppose it's better than, a Percocet or something.
Maybe it's just synthahol.
We've also seen Bones like test stuff on himself when there were practically good red shirts in the other room. Like, come on. Use the red shirts first. That's what they're there
So
for.
you are advocating that he does experiments on other humans before himself, and yet you want to pull his medical license.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Oh man, I want to ask you guys both this question though before we give our numbers. If you had to pick a different captain to be in that scenario to do a equal or better job, who would it be?
I mean, I think Picard probably would have handled that much quicker and much more eloquently. But I think the solution was very Picard-esque.
What about you, Brad?
I feel like I think I agree with you on that, Drew. I think it would be Picard.
Cisco would have just shot it.
Yeah.
I totally get that reference.
Yeah, you do.
Mm.
But no, I think it really would have been just like Picard would have handled it probably a little bit with more tact, but that's about it.
Yeah, he would have had more finesse and less, I think, making up lies. But I think he would have, like, this is the kind of stuff that Next Generation that's like the heartbeat of that show. These types of stories.
Okay. I would say Pike, but not the Kelvin universe Pike, not Proto Pike, but Zaddy Pike, Anson Mount.
Zaddy.
Zaddy.
Can you please define Zaddy for us?
The salt and pepper Pike, the handsome as hell in that was it mustard colored jumpsuit?
Where does the Z come from? Like, what does the Z represent?
Zaddy. Yes, Zaddy.
Like daddy?
Yeah, except it's the pronunciation, so it sounds better.
I've never.
Yes,
heard...
Zaddy.
Did you make this up? Is this a thing?
No, Zaddy's a thing.
From who?
Brad told me.
Oh, that makes sense.
It's a Georgia thing, I was told. Hang on, let's
have
Google.
No recollection of telling you anything.
Let's Google Zaddy real quick before we go
I don't want this in my search history, so please.
No, it's fine. Zaddy, a sexual. I'm gonna try and read this with a straight face. You cannot make me laugh. Zaddy. Noun. A sexually attractive man, especially an older one, who is fashionable and or charismatic. Used in a sentence. So many people go for Jeffrey. He's a zaddy. Or, that Anson Mount. What a zaddy. Zaddy. Welcome.
I have never heard. What a terrible word. Oh my God, this is everything I hate about America.
Oh man, and you know what's funny? That's in the dictionary. That's in the actual dictionary, guys.
Which one?
That's
the Urban Dictionary?
No, that's not Urban Dictionary. That's just regular dictionary.
Which one? I need a name. Go on.
Okay, it was Urban Dictionary. Okay. Not bad. There's so many entries. There's so many entries for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Urban Dictionary definition is so much different. A fine, handsome, and sexy ass intelligent man that makes you smile and drip every time you see him. Why am I still reading this?
I think we should move on to the ratings.
He knows to hang on. He knows how to handle business in and out of the. Oh, I'm done.
I still stand by my statement.
You low key want to have his baby?
You still want to use that word?
Yeah, no, he's zaddy, man. You know what it is? It's the salt and pepper hair. I think I'm a sucker with the salt and pepper hair. Like, I want that salt and pepper hair.
Well,
like I'm gonna start letting it go gray now.
Yeah, man.
Like I'm starting to get it on the temples here.
Yeah.
But when I get a haircut, you can't really see it.
Yeah.
I think when it starts to come in, I'm gonna flaunt it.
I've got some of it in my beard. I just don't have any hair, so you don't see it in my hair.
Can you ask your wife to call you Zaddy?
No. That's a big negative.
What if someone asks her to call you Zaddy? Would you be okay with that?
Negative.
What if I asked
Negative.
her Let me finish.
Oh no.
What if I asked her to call you Zaddy?
No.
What? All right. What if I got you a belt buckle that says Zaddy?
You want to get hit with it? I'm gonna wrap that belt buckle around my fist. And your forehead's gonna say Zaddy, but it's gonna be backwards. So it's gonna be like Yads.
There's so many definitions of the word Zaddy. It's killing me. I gotta get this off my page. My search history, my algorithm is completely screwed up. I'm gonna get ads. I'm gonna get ads now, guys. All right. All right, so I think we've come to a point where we need to rate the episode, put an actual number on the episode, and I hope that I've ruined this experience enough for you both and everyone listening that you will lower your rating substantially. So I'm gonna start with Brad.
Man, Majid, I can tell that you really want me to lower my rating as low as possible.
Just like you lowered your voice for that sentence, yes.
You know, there were definite faults with the episode. Which many we've covered. The overall entertainment value, though, I did still find it fairly high. I actually still enjoyed the overall experience. If I randomly tuned into it, I would more than likely keep watching, wouldn't change it. But with due to the valid points that were brought up, I'm giving it a solid 6.
All right, I'll allow that. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. I thought you were gonna go 8, and I was gonna wait until you came back up here so I could open hand smack you. But I'm okay. I'm okay with your 6. What about you, Drew?
Well, upon learning that Clint Howard is Ron Howard's brother, that adds an extra point to the already.
No, it doesn't. That's not how we review things.
Yeah, no. I mean, like, as Brad has said, the metric that I use is, would I leave this on, and if I were to leave this on, how long would I leave it on for? And this is an episode that I would probably watch start to finish. I don't think it's one of Star Trek's best, but I certainly think it is a good representation of what the show is about, despite the flaws of the ending, which I do concede you made some valid points. It was a little bit sloppy and lazy, how they got to the ending, and the stuff with the guy that should have been a red shirt. That was pretty lazy too. They kept him on the bridge far longer than he ever should have been. That guy should have been confined to quarters and, dealt with accordingly that way. But I think that the heart of this episode is a perfect example of what the heart of Star Trek is. And if they were to do the same episode in a modern show, and they've done variations on this over the years, I think with a better writer and maybe even a B story to complement it, I think this could potentially be one of the better episodes. So I feel comfortable putting this as a 6 as well.
Oh, thank God. Man, listen, that preamble, you scared me.
I like to leave some room on the top.
That's what I tell my barber. Anyway, I'm going with a 4.
Explain yourself.
I think I have this entire episode.
But this is what we do. We have to rehash the explanation.
That's fine. All right. So the lazy writing, the lazy plot armor, the mishandling of a ticking clock, the inexperience, well, not inexperience, the unprofessional nature in which Bones diagnosed Bailey, and without saying anything else, just clears him. Without even seeing this person, talking with this person, clears him back for active duty. With this fumbling of a third act of the episode, right? Clint Howard, CH is great. We go way back, right? Austin Powers days. But it's not enough to save the episode. There are so many faults that I just can't get around. And for some, I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's because I'm bright-eyed and bushy-tailed back from vacation and I'm able to catch these things. But the episode was just a cavalcade of nonsense to me. It's nonsense. I love that Kirk is a qualified captain. I think we've talked about his decision-making in the past. But this pulling a random word out of his butt I don't see it. There's no way. Like there should have been some kind of establishing shot or some kind of establishing scene where he got that a conversation, whether it be in the break room. There should have been something there. And by the way, one thing I didn't talk about when Bailey was losing it, Kirk kind of just sat there for a while, just watched it happen. Did you happen to notice that?
Yeah.
He just happens to just sit there and watch it. Like, let's see how this plays out. Let's see what happens.
I think maybe he was just waiting for the dude to exhaust himself.
like a toddler.
Like a toddler.
Like, I'm just gonna let him cry it out.
Yeah. I did love Handsome Squidward. I think that made me chuckle because I had to pause the episode and be like, you know what? Who is that? What is that? And at first I thought it was Beaker from the Muppets.
Yep.
Which is also an okay comparison.
Yeah.
But once you understand Handsome Squidward and what Handsome Squidward looks like, that meat puppet was Handsome Squidward.
I was getting like some serious Mystery Science Theater vibes from the puppet when they had the shots of him on the view screen with the wavy lines.
Mm-hmm.
Like I didn't realize at first that it was like actually a puppet. So like the way he was kind of moving was kind of herky jerky. It was just kind of a little bit weird. And I had assumed that, you know, for the remaster, they went in and they computerized it and they just did a bad job. In hindsight, I realized that it was a puppet the entire time.
A bad puppet.
I mean,
I keep calling it a meat puppet, but I think that word means something else that I'm not okay with repeating.
It probably does.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna Google that. Can somebody Google what meat puppet is?
It's a band.
No, I'm gonna pass.
It is a grunge band from the 90s, so that's about all you're gonna get from me.
Did you get that from Urban Dictionary?
No.
No, you didn't go deep enough.
I didn't Google it.
That's fair. You just happen to have that random bit of knowledge. I get it.
I worked at a record store and I'm a fan of music, so yes.
Right. As you've told us before, Empire Records is based off your life.
Pretty much.
I love you.
Yes.
I love you so much. Guys, anything else you want to touch on before we wrap it up for the night?
Well, I mean, what do we got next week?
I hate when you put me on the spot.
Don't worry, he does that to me every single week too.
What do we have next week? Let's see. What do we have next week? Oh my God! It's the menagerie. Menage.
I'm so glad I'm hosting.
Menagerie. I sound broken.
Yeah.
We are doing the menagerie. We are doing the menagerie. Part 1. Why am I the only one trying to say this word?
Because Brad and I are able to say it.
Say what?
Menagerie.
Damn, I thought that was
Brad, hit me.
Menagerie.
Menagerie.
Why don't you look that up on Urban Dictionary?
I did, and I had to delete cookies.
Oh boy.
All right. Well,
so what's this
next
episode
week we'll
about?
watch. Oh, God, always put me on a spot. Always put me on.
Just read the description.
I went into screen caps because I was looking for.
We do
things
this
to make memes
every
of.
week.
Don't do this to me.
I haven't gotten to demerit yet, man.
I know, and you totally deserve it. All right, so
I feel like your vacations made you soft.
no, I hit the gym every single morning, just like my routine is. It's fine. So on the menagerie part 1, the crew of the Enterprise meet the Enterprise's former commander, Protopike, at Starbase 11, only to find that he's been severely crippled by radiation burns. Spock inexplicably kidnaps Protopike, and takes control of the Enterprise, locking into a course for the quarantine planet of Talos 4. Talos 4, as you remember, is from the episode we don't talk about.
What's the name of that
The
one?
Cage. I'll demerit myself.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway,
Well,
as Drew said in the past, I think this episode has a lot of clips from that episode.
it's about like 50 to 70% clips from the cage.
Yeah. Which, you know, I guess back then, you know, that episode hadn't aired.
Correct.
So,
yeah.
you know,
So-
to everyone else is like, oh my God, revolutionary.
We'll probably chime in on this a little bit more next week, but the gist of it is they colorized certain clips of the cage to fit into this episode. And if you were to watch the first release of the cage that was issued in 1988, some of it's in black and white and some of it's in color because of that.
Yeah, now, what we should also mention as well for the listeners out there, parts of the cage were also shown in Discovery season 2.
Yes.
Right?
Well,
Right.
I mean, they showed like a flash. Yeah, there was like a flashback in the beginning.
Right. So it ties into Zaddy Pike's backstory.
Correct.
So it's something to keep in mind if ever you want to do a rewatch of only season 2 of Discovery. Because
Right.
why would you do 1, 2, or 4?
Yeah, I mean,
Sorry,
this
1, 3, or 4.
this would technically happen after all that in Discovery. And I believe it happens after Strange New Worlds, but I'm not 100% sure on that yet.
We'll find out.
We will.
I think by the time this episode airs, 5 episodes of Strange New Worlds would have aired.
Well, I mean, I don't have a concrete listing, but it's possible by the time this drops, the entire show of Stranger Worlds will have aired, the first season. They've only given us dates for the first 5 episodes, but I'm under the impression that they're just doing all 10 in a row. Could be wrong. We'll find.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of downtime. I know that we again at this point would have talked about all of them, but you know, man, I've been looking forward to this show, Strange New Worlds, since they announced it.
Yeah.
Great cast.
It's going to be a lot of fun.
Now, there's also a possibility that by the time this podcast episode airs, the other ones would have also aired, showing my complete and utter disappointment for Strange New Worlds. So that's also a pretty strong possibility.
Yeah, I mean,
something we should keep in mind.
This is unfortunately one of the downsides to recording in April when the episode is not scheduled to drop until July.
Right.
But it is what it is.
It's like is it time travel in a way?
Yes, we are time traveling in our own podcast.
All right, how about this?
You are a time traveler.
Hey, future me, make sure that you can answer Drew's questions about the next episode when you host. Otherwise, he will make you pay for it.
Okay.
Oh, that is not what I sound like. That is not what do I sound like that? No, it's fine.
No,
you know what?
no,
It's
you
fine.
sound good.
Maybe we don't dive into that well. That being said, guys, until next week.
Thanks for listening.
Bye.
Good night. Bye. Hey everyone. Thanks so much for listening to yet another Star Trek podcast. This has been a Retro Sessions Network production. This episode was recorded on April 25th, 2022. It's hosted by Brad, Drew, and me, Majid. As always, Drew edits the episodes every single week. Brad, he writes all the synopsis and every joke for us. We love him. And I take care of the artwork. Additional artwork is, of course, done by the great George Vitale. You can find him on Fiverr. Our music, Warp Speed and To the Stars, is written and performed by William Grobelar Music. Be sure to check him out on SoundCloud. We'll have a link in the show notes. If you'd like to connect with us on social media, which I totally recommend doing, we're available everywhere. TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook at Yet Another STPod. Or if you want to send us an email, Drew loves emails. So be sure to email us yetanotherstpod@gmail.com. Do you like hanging out with us every single week? If that's the case, please show your support by rating and reviewing us. You can do so on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or anywhere you get your podcasts. And don't forget to subscribe. That's pretty important. Thanks again. We'll see you next week. Live long and prosper.